Let's apply.
to the kidney.
Let's go with this then.
Go with that one?
I like this one.
Okay.
Also, we can show it on this.
Okay.
Well, since you guys are all there, let's just do
okay.
this one. All right.
Renal artery.
Renal artery.
And then coming off of it, we have the segmental artery.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it branches again, we have the interlobular.
Lobar.
Lobar.
Arteries.
Okay, interlobar arteries. And then we have the arcuate arteries are here.
Arcuate arteries will arch over the renal pyramids.
Okay. And then coming off of those would be the afferent arteriole. No?
That's a cortical radiate.
Oh, the cortical radiate. That's right.
Cortical
Which
radiate
makes sense
artery.
because it radiates off of the cortex.
Yeah, so again, renal artery
Mm-hmm.
segments into segmental arteries. And then as it cuts in between the renal pyramids, it becomes the interlobar arteries.
Okay.
So here, here, here. And,
And then when it wraps around the pyramid, it is the arcuate arteries.
arcuate arteries arch over the renal pyramids.
And then radiating off of those are the cortical radiate arteries.
Cortical radiate arteries. Jazz hands. So then you can't see the afferent arterioles because arterioles are tiny.
Yes.
Unless we zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. And then we
Okay.
see in the entire renal corpuscle, you can see coming in, feeding it is the afferent arteriole. Taking
Okay.
away is the efferent arteriole. So the afferent is thicker and it's on top. The
Okay.
efferent is thinner and it's underneath.
Okay. And then this would be the
Structures?
vasa recta,
Yes.
and also here.
All right, so let's start off with regions. What region is this?
Cortex.
Cortex. What region is this?
Medulla.
Medulla, good. So then the nephrons are named either cortical nephron or juxtamedullary nephron. Cortical nephrons start up in the cortex, and it's the entire nephron. So renal corpuscle, including the proximal convoluted tubule, descending and ascending loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, all the way to the collecting duct. That entire nephron is what again? Cortical
Cortical
nephron. Good. Now the juxtamedullary, juxta means next to, so the juxtamedullary nephron is this one or this one?
You said that's further down here.
It's closer to the medulla. So juxtamedullary is next to the medulla. So that also includes renal corpuscle, proximal convoluted tubule, descending, ascending loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, and collecting duct.
How would you ask it to distinguish between the individual structures?
What type of nephron is this?
So the upper ones are the corticals, and the lower ones are the juxtamedullary.
Yeah, but remember, a kidney is a whole head of hair. Nephron is a strand of that hair.
Okay.
So you always want to include everything in the nephron if we're asking what nephron is this.
Okay.
Now, if we're going to ask for structures, then what structure is this?
Renal corpuscle.
Yep.
So the entire structure is the renal corpuscle.
Yep.
What structure is this?
Bowman's capsule.
Bowman's capsule. And what is the tissue?
It is
Simple
cuboidal.
Squamous.
Simple
Or
squamous.
simple squamous. That's
Simple
right. Because
squamous.
if we want to be able to,
We want filtrate.
we want to be able to absorb.
To pass. Right? And then what is this in the center?
Glomerulus.
Glomerulus. Good. Now this and this are what structures?
Renal tubule.
Renal tubules. Good. What tissue is that?
Simple
Simple
cuboidal.
cuboidal.
Simple
So this is
cuboidal.
not simple squamous.
Yes.
Okay.
So simple squamous will be in Bowman's capsule, as well as a portion of the descending loop of Henle, because that's for reabsorption. All right. So we already know the different parts of the nephron. Now, by the descending loop of Henle, we have simple squamous epithelial tissue right along here. Right next to it, we have a capillary bed that will reabsorb the salt and nutrients that we don't want to expel into the collecting duct, which will go into the bladder eventually.
The vasa recta.
Vasa recta. So this capillary bed here is the vasa recta, and it has a countercurrent exchange system, Dr. Gibbs, with the descending and ascending loop of Henle. All right?
Was that just for me?
On that whiteboard, the distal and proximal convoluted tubules have different colors, right?
Yeah, they're different. So on this board, this is the proximal convoluted tubule, descending loop of Henle, ascending loop of Henle. This little stub here is what?
Distal?
Distal
Distal
convoluted
convoluted
tubule. Yeah. Okay, so then also,
Would this be the paratubular
yes.
capillaries?
So I was about
And
to
then
say.
here, down here?
So we have a paratubular capillary bed, which is another capillary bed similar to the vasa recta's function, but it's going to be located up in the cortex. So paratubular capillary bed, paratubular capillary bed.
And that also goes into the collecting duct as well, from the paratubular?
No. Remember, the paratubular capillary bed and vasa recta want to reclaim the things that you want
Yeah.
to keep.
Yeah.
Everything that we want to expel eventually will make its way into the collecting duct,
Also, it doesn't, the vasa recta doesn't put it back into the collecting, it puts it back into the blood supply.
into like recirculation.
Yeah.
So then the collecting duct empties into the minor calyx, which empties into the major calyx, empties into the renal pelvis, and empties into the ureter,
Ureter, which empties into the bladder.
into the bladder, and then into the toilet.
Bam. Bam.
Yeah.
There's the bonus
Where does
question.
the urine ultimately
Where
go?
does it end?
The medullary nephron, these two?
Alright, so it's
That'll do it.
Juxtamedullary nephrons?
Juxtamedullary,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Juxtamedullary nephron, if you include the holding. Cortical nephron,
Okay.
and up here, juxtamedullary nephron, cortical nephron.
Oh, okay.
Do that again?
Cortical nephron,
Oh, okay.
juxtamedullary.
Juxtamedullary is the one that goes deeper into the difference.
Much deeper.
And the renal corpuscle is located.
It's just above the medullary.
Is further up in the cortex, and then juxtamedullary starts
It was on our quiz last
lower,
night.
closer to the medullary. Is it bone capsule also
It
the
said
renal
that they go
capsule?
into.
Yeah, that's true.
Where's the visceral and parietal? It is in that one?
The what?
Visceral is juxtamedullary.
Oh, visceral.
Oh, visceral and parietal?
Oh, you're probably talking about the entire kidney. So visceral. What are they talking about?
That's in the.
Oh no, that's only on the
So do we have to
Dissection.
identify between this and this?
no,
It's all just glomerulus.
glomerulus. Yeah.
It's the glamorous one.
Glamorous. Got you.